Let's take you live now to the Lebombo border post, which has been closed yet again for security reasons. Newzroom Afrika's Nqobile Madlala is there and joins us now. Nqobile, I see a closed gate behind you. Not surprising at all, of course, given the decision of the Border Management Authority to close that gate once again.
That's correct, Vuyo. This is obviously of safety reasons. South Africa has to consider just how safe a person that comes from South Africa to Mozambique will be, and a person that's coming from Mozambique to South Africa. We know at this very point that all the officials are not processing anyone to move to Mozambique. This is mainly because if they send them to Moz side, then where do they go to? And that's the question of safety. So they have, of course, closed, and this emanates from the talks that the immigration has had, BMA has had with their counterparts, looking at just how bad the situation may be on the other side. And let me show you the other side of that border. You will remember that this was some of the vehicles that had been burnt earlier on this week. And those vehicles, the one that you see much further on, is a vehicle that's actually owned by government within Mozambique. And that in itself is telling that the people had opted to burn a vehicle owned by government. And that tells you that they're unhappy with what is taking place, and that really there's no stopping anything at this point. The people that you see are also the Mozambican officials. They're right in the middle, just after the border of South Africa, just making sure that there's no one that's coming this side. So in a couple of days ago, we saw some of the Mozambican people that are coming from Rosana Garcia, which is the town that is quite nearest to the border, deciding then to come and burn those vehicles here. Now, just a few moments, we saw that vehicle on your right-hand side that was brought in or dragged in by a person that was very scared. And you could see even in the way they drove, they were just trying to get as far away from Mozambique as possible. We later understood that this is a person who's a resident that side, but was trying to save his vehicle and decided to then take to bring it this side. So these are some of the things that are happening on the ground. Whilst all of this is taking place, we understand also that there are trucks that are lined up trying to get to Mozambique. And this becomes a major concern for the freight industry, mainly because they're losing money for as long as they are on the road. Some of them explaining to us that they had been there for over 4 days, whilst others are saying 3 days, but those days are counting in terms of the stock that they need to deliver to the harbour, which is on the other side of that immigration office. And also for them to get to that harbour, they have to go through the community of Rosana Garcia, which is the community that is mainly responsible for these two vehicles that you see that are burnt right in front of the border of South Africa. So the major concern now is that if that community does decide to come back, that would be a major safety issue for especially the officials that have to work at the border. And so it is very important that they are also secured. And as a result, we have seen security being beefed. We've got SAPS here, we've got BMA, we've got all sort of officials that are ensuring that this area is very safe. We already know, Vuyo, that 15 officials from Mozambican side in the immigration office had to run to South African side because they were scared. But whilst they run from this side and seek refuge, the question is what happens to their family. So that in itself is even just a minor thing for them to save themselves for now, but what happens to their family later becomes a major issue. So we've seen some of those officials coming back and forth between this area as well. So there's quite a lot of moving pieces really on the ground, especially when it comes to what happens next. But at this point, we know that South Africa has then opted to close that gate. And this gate, I can tell you, Vuyo, is that it's very heavy. It takes a number of people to try and move it. And so this is a safety measure for the country, just to say that no one is allowed in and no one is allowed out.